In the cold silence of deep space, the Galactic Empire was used to hearing nothing. For thousands of years, they had ruled the stars. No enemy could challenge them. No signal could surprise them. Until one day, something did. It started as a weak signal. Very weak. So weak that most systems ignored it. It came from a distant part of space, an area the Empire had already marked as unimportant. A region with only one small, blue planet. Earth. The signal was broken. Old. It sounded like noise. At first, no one cared. But then the signal repeated. Again. And again. Each time, it became clearer. Stronger. More focused. That was when the scientists noticed something strange. The signal was not random. It was a message. Inside the Imperial Communication Center, dozens of experts gathered around glowing screens. Data streams moved fast. Numbers changed every second. The room felt different. Quiet. Tense. "What does it say?" one officer asked. A scientist leaned forward, eyes locked on the translation screen. "It's simple," he said slowly. "Too simple." The screen flashed. One line appeared. "Do not advance further." Silence filled the room. Then someone laughed. A short, sharp laugh. "A warning," another officer said, shaking his head. From that planet, Earth was not a threat. It was a young world. Divided. Weak. No large fleet. No known advanced weapons. The Empire had seen thousands of worlds like it. None had ever dared to send a warning. "This must be a mistake," a commander said. "Or a trick." But deep inside, something felt wrong. The signal kept repeating. Every few minutes. Clear. Cold. Unchanging. "Do not advance further." The Emperor was informed. He did not hesitate. "Send a fleet," he ordered. Not a large one. Just enough to investigate. A standard Imperial fleet moved out. Dozens of ships. Powerful enough to destroy entire civilizations. For them, this was nothing. Just another routine mission. As the fleet moved closer to the source, the signal grew stronger. Louder. Almost like it was watching them. Tracking them. Inside the lead ship, the captain stood silently, staring at the stars. "Still no visual?" he asked. "Nothing, sir," the officer replied. "No ships. No stations. No energy readings. Just empty space." That made no sense. The signal was real. But there was nothing there. The fleet slowed down. Cautious now. For the first time, doubt entered their minds. "Sir," another officer said quietly. "The signal, it changed." The captain turned. "What do you mean?" "It's not just repeating anymore." The room grew still. The message appeared again on the main screen. But this time, there was something else. Coordinates. Their coordinates. The fleet froze. "How is that possible?" someone whispered. No one had the answer. The signal knew exactly where they were. Before the captain could give a command, one of the ships disappeared. Not damaged. Not destroyed. Just, gone. The formation broke instantly. "What happened?" the captain shouted. No explosion detected. No debris. No energy spike. It just vanished. Panic spread through the fleet. Ships moved into defensive positions. Weapons powered up. Sensors scanned everything. Still nothing. Just empty space. Then it happened again. Another ship. Gone. This time, everyone saw it. 1 second it was there. The next, it wasn't. No sound. No flash. No warning. The silence of space became terrifying. "This is not possible," the captain said, his voice low. For the first time in his career, he felt fear. "Retreat," he ordered immediately. The fleet turned. Engines roared to life. But as they tried to escape, the signal returned. Louder than ever. Clear. Cold. Watching. The screen lit up. "We warned you." No one spoke. No one moved. Because now they understood something terrible. This was not a mistake. This was not a weak species. And whatever was out there, it had been waiting. The Imperial fleet did not wait. The moment the order was given, every ship turned and pushed its engines to maximum power. Blue light filled the darkness as they tried to escape the unknown. But something was wrong. Their systems were slowing down. Engines losing power, an officer shouted. Navigation systems are not responding. The captain's face turned cold. What is happening? No external attack detected, but something is interfering with us. Silence pressed against the ship. Then, the stars moved. At first, it looked like an illusion. Like the crew's eyes were playing tricks. But it wasn't. The stars were bending. Space itself was shifting. Lines of blue light appeared across the darkness, curving like streams of energy. They moved fast, like something was cutting through space itself. And then, they saw them. Ships. Human ships. Small. Sleek. Silent. They did not arrive like normal fleets. They did not jump in or send signals. They simply appeared. As if they had always been there. The Imperial fleet froze. "Impossible," one officer whispered. These ships, they were not detected. No radar. No warning. No trace. The human ships hovered around them, calm and still. Watching. Waiting. The captain felt a deep unease. "Open communication," he ordered. No response. "Identify yourselves." Nothing. Only silence. Then suddenly, one human ship moved. Fast. Too fast. A flash of blue light cut across space. One Imperial cruiser split in half. Clean. Instant. No explosion. Just destruction. The fleet broke into chaos. Return fire. Weapons fired in all directions. Lasers, plasma, missiles, everything the Empire had. But it didn't matter. The human ships were already gone. Not destroyed. Just, not there anymore. Then they appeared again. Behind them. Another flash. Another ship destroyed. "Target them," the captain shouted. "We can't lock on. They're moving too fast. They're not following any known pattern." Fear spread through every ship. This was not a battle. This was something else. The human ships moved like shadows. They attacked, disappeared, and returned from different angles. Every time they struck, an Imperial ship vanished. Not damaged. Not disabled. Erased. Minutes passed. But it felt like hours. The fleet was falling apart. "Sir, we are losing too many ships." The captain clenched his fists. "Fall back. Full retreat." But it was already too late. More blue lines cut through space. More ships appeared. More attacks. And then, suddenly, everything stopped. The human ships froze. No movement. No attack. Just silence again. The remaining Imperial ships floated in space, damaged, broken, barely alive. "What are they doing?" an officer whispered. No one knew. Seconds passed. Then slowly, the human ships began to disappear. One by one. Like fading shadows. Until nothing was left. No enemy. No signal. No trace. Only the destroyed Imperial fleet, drifting in silence. The captain stared at the empty space. His hands were shaking. This cannot be their full power," he said quietly. No one answered. Because deep down, everyone knew the truth. This was controlled. Measured. Limited. As if the enemy was holding back. As if this was only a test. Back at the Imperial capital, emergency reports flooded in. High command officers read the data again and again. It made no sense. The Empire had faced powerful enemies before. But never like this. Never something invisible. Never something this fast. Never something that could erase ships without effort. Where did these ships come from? One general asked. No answer. How many are there? No answer. Why did they stop? Silence. Then a final report arrived. Recovered from one of the surviving ships. A single line. The same message. But now, different. Not a warning. A statement. The screen displayed it clearly. This was only the first wave. The room went cold. No one spoke. Because now, for the first time in history, the Galactic Empire was afraid. The Imperial capital had never been so quiet. No celebrations. No pride. No confidence. Only fear. The reports from the battlefield were still being studied. Every second of the encounter was analyzed again and again. But nothing made sense. No energy signature before attack. No clear weapon system. No movement pattern. It was as if the human ships were breaking the laws of physics. Inside the high command chamber, the Empire's top leaders sat in silence. The Emperor himself was present. That alone showed how serious the situation had become. Explain it, the Emperor said coldly. A senior scientist stepped forward, nervous but focused. We believe, these ships are not using normal technology. The room went still. What do you mean? A general asked. They are not traveling through space like us, the scientist said. They are, stepping through it. Confusion spread across the room. Stepping, the Emperor repeated. Yes, the scientist said. Short-distance space shifts. Instant movement. No travel time. That is impossible, another officer said quickly. It should be, the scientist replied. But we saw it happen. Silence followed. If this was true, then the Empire was facing something far beyond anything they had ever known. Then find their source, the Emperor ordered. And so, the search began. All eyes turned toward Earth. The small blue planet that had sent the warning. Deep scans were launched. Long-range sensors focused on every part of the system. At first, nothing. Earth looked the same. Cities. Oceans. Atmosphere. No massive fleet. No visible defenses. Just a normal world. This makes no sense, a commander said. Where are they hiding? But one analyst did not stop looking. He pushed the scan deeper. Further. Beyond the visible. Into empty space. And that's when he saw it. Something, hidden. Wait, he said suddenly. The room turned toward him. There is something behind Earth's orbit. Show it, the Emperor ordered. The main screen shifted. At first, it looked like nothing. Just darkness. But then the image adjusted. Layers of space were peeled back. And slowly, shapes appeared. Massive shapes. Ships. Hundreds of them. No, thousands. Hidden. Perfectly still. Invisible to normal scans. The room froze. That's not possible, someone whispered. These ships have been there for a long time, the analyst said. They are not new. How long? The Emperor asked. The analyst hesitated. Then spoke. Possibly, centuries. A deep silence filled the chamber. Humanity had been building this, for that long. Without anyone knowing. Without any signal. Without any trace. They were preparing, the scientist said quietly. For what? A general asked. The answer came slowly. For this. The realization hit everyone at once. This was not a sudden defense. This was not a reaction. This was a plan. A long, silent plan. Humanity had been waiting. Watching. Growing stronger in the shadows. The Empire had expanded across the galaxy without fear. But humans. They had chosen a different path. They had hidden. They had learned. And now. They were ready. Another officer stepped forward. There is more, he said. The screen changed again. New data appeared. More signals. Not just one location. Multiple. Different regions of space. All connected. All hidden. Backup fleets, the scientist whispered. The Emperor stood up slowly. His expression had changed. For the first time. There was no anger. Only understanding. This was never about one fleet, he said. No. This is something much bigger. At that moment, a new transmission arrived. Stronger than before. Clear. Direct. Every system in the chamber went silent as the message played. A calm human voice filled the room. We told you not to advance. No fear. No anger. Only certainty. You saw the first wave. The Emperor clenched his hand. His voice was low. What are you? The message continued. And you still do not understand. The screen flickered. Then one final line appeared. We do not fight to win. The room held its breath. We fight to end threats, before they begin. The transmission ended. No signal remained. No trace. Only silence. The Emperor looked at his commanders. No one spoke. Because now. The truth was clear. The Empire had not discovered humanity. Humanity had allowed it. And everything they had seen so far was only a fraction of what was coming. The Empire had faced powerful enemies before. But never something like this. Not something that waited. Not something that planned for centuries. And not something that could erase fleets, like they never existed. Still, the Empire was not weak. Fear did not stop them. It made them angry. Inside the Imperial war chamber, the Emperor stood tall. His voice was cold, sharp, and final. We do not retreat, he said. We respond. Orders were sent across the galaxy. Every fleet. Every warship. Every weapon. Move toward Earth. This would not be a small mission anymore. This would be war. Thousands of ships began to gather. Massive carriers, heavy destroyers, long-range weapon platforms, everything the Empire had built over centuries. The largest fleet in their history. If humanity was hiding power, the Empire would crush it all at once. But deep inside, something felt wrong. Because the humans did not react. No movement. No defense. No new attack. Only silence. As if they were waiting. Days passed. The Imperial Grand Fleet finally reached the outer edge of the human system. The ship spread out, forming a massive wall of steel and fire. Weapons powered up. Energy levels peaked. One command from the Emperor. And everything would begin. Target Earth, a general said. But before the order could be given, the signal returned. Stronger than ever. It filled every ship. Every screen. Every system. No one could block it. No one could stop it. The message appeared. This is your final warning. The fleet stood still. For a moment, time itself felt frozen. The Emperor looked at the message. Then slowly. He raised his hand. Fire. Thousands of weapons activated. A storm of destruction aimed at one small blue planet. But before a single shot could be fired, the stars disappeared. Not dimmed. Not hidden. Gone. Complete darkness spread across space. The fleet froze. What is happening? An officer whispered. Sensors failed. Navigation systems shut down. Even the light from distant galaxies vanished. It was like the universe itself had been turned off. And then shapes appeared. At first, only shadows. Massive. Endless. Slowly moving through the darkness. The system struggled, then came back online for a brief second. Just enough to see. And what they saw stopped every heart. Human ships. Not hundreds. Not thousands. But an endless number. Gigantic warships, far larger than anything the Empire had ever built. Each one covered in heavy armor, glowing with silent power. Behind them. More ships. Layer after layer. A fleet so large it blocked the stars. This is impossible, a general said. No civilization can build this. But it was real. The human fleet stretched across space like a wall. Calm. Still. Unmoving. The Emperor lowered his hand. For the first time. He did not give the order. Because now he understood. This was not a defense. This was control. The earlier attack. The ships they fought. That was nothing. A test. A warning. A small part of something much bigger. One human ship moved forward. Larger than the rest. It stopped in front of the entire Imperial fleet. Then a message appeared. Simple. Clear. You chose to ignore us. No anger. No threat. Just truth. The Emperor stepped forward. His voice was quieter now. What do you want? The answer came instantly. Peace. The word echoed across every ship. Every mind. But you came with war, the Emperor said. A pause. Then the final message appeared. We prepared for war, so we would never have to fight it. Silence followed. Heavy. Unbreakable. The Empire had one choice left. Fight. Or survive. And for the first time in history, the Galactic Empire hesitated. Because now they knew. If they made the wrong choice, there would be no second chance. No one moved. Across thousands of Imperial ships, millions of soldiers waited for one command. Fight. Or stand down. The Emperor stood in silence, looking at the endless human fleet in front of him. For the first time in his life, he felt small. Not weak. But outmatched. This was not just power. This was control. Perfect control. The human ships did not attack. They did not threaten. They simply existed, like a wall that could never be broken. The Emperor took a slow breath. If we attack, one general said quietly, we may damage them. A pause. Then he added. But we will not survive. No one disagreed. Another officer stepped forward. They are giving us a choice. The Emperor closed his eyes for a moment. In all his years, no enemy had ever given the Empire a choice. Only defeat. Only destruction. But this was different. Humanity was not trying to win. They were trying to end the war before it began. The Emperor opened his eyes. Cancel the attack, he said. The word spread across the fleet. Weapons powered down. Energy levels dropped. Ships slowly pulled back. A wave of silence followed. The tension, gone. But something else replaced it. Respect. The massive human fleet did not move. Not a single ship advanced. They watched. Waiting. The Emperor stepped forward again. His voice was steady now. We will withdraw. For a moment. Nothing happened. Then the lead human ship responded. Not with weapons. Not with power. But with a single message. Wise choice. The stars slowly returned. Light filled the darkness again. The universe came back. And with it, reality. The human fleet remained. Still. Silent. But no longer threatening. The Imperial fleet turned away. Slowly at first. Then faster. Retreating from the system. No attacks followed. No chase. No punishment. Only silence. As they left, one final transmission reached every Imperial ship. A calm human voice. Clear. Unshaken. You were not our enemy. The Emperor listened carefully. But you were becoming one. Silence. Then the final words. Now, you understand. The signal ended. And this time. It did not return. Back in the Imperial capital, the story spread quickly. The Empire had not been defeated. But they had been stopped. Not by force alone. But by something far more dangerous. Preparation. Patience. And control. New orders were issued across the galaxy. Do not approach human space. Do not provoke. Do not test them again. Because now everyone knew the truth. Humanity was not loud. They did not show their strength. They did not seek war. But if war came, they would end it. Before it could even begin. Years later, the event was remembered by one name. The day the Empire froze. Not because of defeat. But because of realization. The galaxy had changed that day. A new power had risen. Quiet. Hidden. Watching. And far beyond what anyone had imagined. And somewhere, deep in space, hidden fleets still waited. Silent. Unseen. Ready. Because what the Empire saw. What they feared. What they barely survived. Was only the first wave.